I'm also beating every N64 game, on original hardware and using no guides, just a bit of backseating from chat. All games are chosen randomly, so I have no idea what's coming next. On the previous episode, we solved a bunch of mysteries in Scooby-Doo Classic Crypt Capers. Make sure to check that video out if you haven't already. Today, we're playing a mech arena fighting game. Time for Last Legion UX. Once again, I've never heard of this game before. It was actually supposed to release in the West as well, but the game ended up as a Japan exclusive. Not only that, but it also got pretty mediocre reviews and was being constantly compared to Virtualon. You know, that really cool mech arena fighting game that Sega made for the arcades. But are these comparisons fair, and also is the game really as bad as they say? I guess that's something that we're gonna find out in this playthrough. But anyways, what's the clear condition for this one? It's pretty simple, all we have to do is finish the story mode. This is a 1v1 mech arena fighting game. The arenas themselves are full of cover and sometimes even have some stage hazards. And of course, all mechs have their own strengths and weaknesses, as well as their own signature weapon. You know, I would do a showcase of all the mechs, but the moment I found my main, I kinda just forgot to check the rest. Let's not waste any more time, let's see what this game is all about. Well, the game starts with a gigantic lore dump that sets the stage for us. And let me give you a short version of it, because it's a lot. So here it goes. 4,500 years after civilization is born, the world's 4 continents, Earth, Fire, Wind, and Water, are governed by this alliance called Union 4. And to maintain peace, they developed these mechs called legions, which are powered by these stones called Power Stones. Some factions felt mechs could help in conquering the world. One of these factions, called Light Raid, declared independence from Union 4. This in turn sparked a war that went on for an unspecified amount of time. In an attempt to end this conflict, Light Raid captures the Union's space-time transport facility to send 8 legions into the past. Union sends 1 lone legion to try and stop them, and to find out what exactly Light Raid is planning. After that incredible story, we get to choose our main, and as I said in the intro, I already knew who I wanted to play. Jankies it is. The game offers a tiny bit of customization. You can choose your weapon as well as your shield, standard or light. Stat differences aren't that big, so I stuck with sword plus standard shield. We then get some lore about the legion we picked, and honestly, it's not super interesting. All you have to know is that this legion is an old model that has been decommissioned and uses the wind power stone. Alright, we're finally ready. It's time for mission 1. This game is structured like a fighting game arcade mode. You go from stage to stage, fighting increasingly harder opponents until you get to fight a very cheap final boss. And I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but trust me, this game's boss is cheap. Mission 1 takes us to Light Raid's main base. Seems the main character is called Reddy? No, I won't make some lame Reddit joke about it. After Reddy finishes talking to himself, our first enemy legion appears. It's Globus. So this dude is actually pretty weak, and it's a good time to get familiarized with the controls. You jump with A. It is also possible to double jump, however this has quite a bit of recovery on your landing. Meaning that if you're just double jumping all over the place, there's a big chance that you're gonna get hit by some nasty punishes on your landing. To use our primary weapon, we press B, and some of these weapons can also be charged. To use our secondary weapon, we can press left C or up C. With Jankies, I get these bombs that are absolutely useless and hard to use. I never really bothered with them. Down C locks onto your target. I didn't discover this until much later though. You can also strafe in this game, and you can do that with the R button, however you cannot turn while doing this. A plus B lets you do a melee attack, and this was my go-to most of the time since I was using a sword. Z plus B is a super attack, which I didn't do until the last boss, because I didn't know of its existence till then. And finally, Z plus A is an instant kill. I was never able to get it, but in short, it is possible to reap the power stone from enemy mechs. The timing for it seems pretty tight, so I gave up on trying this stuff after a while. Before starting, I thought the sword was going to be exclusively melee. But it also has a really nice range attack, where you can shoot 3 discs that cover a lot of space. Damage on it isn't great, but it's a good zoning tool. Actually no, damage can be great because there's this small chance that all 3 discs are going to go on a straight line stacked on top of each other. And if it hits the enemy, it's going to do the damage of all 3 discs at once. So that's, I think, the only way to make it do a lot, but I never really found a way to do it consistently. But what we really want to do with our sword is to get close and use melee. It rips apart your opponent, and you can even set up some sick pressure on their wake up. My fighting game fundamentals are really coming in handy here. Anyways, this fight took way longer than it should have though, as I was still struggling with the controls. We eventually defeat the Light Raid officer. We tried to get some info from him, but all he does is laugh. Turns out this was all a diversion. Light Raid is attacking the space-time transport facility. On to mission 2. As we arrive, we are notified that they were attacked by 9 legions. 8 of them have gone to the past to play some shitty games that suck ass. Yeah, I had to do that joke. He then lists 6 of the 8 units that were able to go to the past, but I won't really bother reading them now. The 2 remaining ones are not in the database, and according to the guy talking to us, they are most likely new models. He also says they've gone back 4,500 years in the past, and you know the situation is dire by the amount of exclamation marks used. Reddy asks if it's possible to send any more units. And it's our lucky day because there's enough power for one more. But before we go in, we're interrupted by a legion, VB, who immediately starts trash talking and states that it will now savor its awesome might, with a lot of exclamation marks too. This legion jumps around a lot and seems to have a crappy shotgun. What's special about it though is that it can transform into a phoenix. And it's super easy to dodge, so I was never really worried about losing. Also, not knowing that locking in is a thing makes a lot of these fights pretty unpleasant. Cause in short, you're kinda just moving around like a tank, and it's also very hard to keep track of your enemy. But anyways, after some struggling, I corner VB and go full rushdown on them. We hit a sick victory pose, and now we interrogate the Legion pilot. And once again, we get zero info out of this guy, so for his crimes, Reddy sentenced him to a life of solitary confinement. That'll teach them. Oh yeah, check this sick cutscene out though. That was cool. On to mission 3, we are now 4,500 years in the past, and we are quickly interrupted by Bebayan, one of the light raid officers. And his dialogue is something else, man. So just a small parenthesis here, I'm playing a fan translated version of the game, which is actually cool because I get to read this sick dialogue without relying on Google Translate. But I can guarantee you the Japanese version probably doesn't have noob in there. And not just any noob, but noob in leet speak with the zeros and all. Bebayan seems pretty mentally unstable and just wants to fight. This arena is a bit more vertical than the others with a waterfall and that's it. Bebayan himself is a total pushover too. I'm not sure if he does anything special because we had no difficulties beating the guy after cornering him. After beating Bebayan, we start trash talking a little. We also begin interrogating him. We get a bit of a lore dump from Reddy after being asked about the Power Stones. Bebayan gives us a big reveal and states that those Power Stones don't come from this planet. And he also tells us where to go next. We then just leave him there to think about his life choices. On to mission 4, which takes us to Labyrinth, and according to Reddy, this is a ruined garden. But Reddy is surprised because this ruin shouldn't be here this far back in the past. We are again interrupted by an enemy legion, Galvin, not sure how you pronounce it, and they are singing. This stage has loads of cover, and Galvin's gimmick is that they throw tons of bombs at you, so you want to close the distance to hit him with the sword. However, Galvin can dish out some nasty kicks. Eventually we find a strat that works. Galvin couldn't handle the rushdown either. We then decide to interrogate him as well, and we are told that probably the rest of the legions went to a fire area. Mission 5 takes us to a place called Fire Circle, and Reddy is surprised because of the geoglyphs on the floor. But we are not alone and we are interrupted by, are you seeing a pattern here already? Liabouts is here, and he seems to be the most normal officer yet. He asks for our name, and after telling him, he gets really surprised. It seems like we're some kind of big shot Union pilot or something. This is by far the hardest fight yet. So far every other legion will get knocked down after a sword attack. But not Liabouts. He's the only one that can tank the hits and counter you right away with a combo of his own. Not just that, but he also has this crazy special attack that's very hard to dodge. And he's also extremely fast. I wouldn't be surprised if he's S+ tier in the Last Legion UX tournament scene or something. If that's even a thing. We take our very first death here. I hit him with a sword attack which he completely tanked, and then he just hit me with a crazy combo behind it. Oh no, we have credits? This now became way more stressful. Halfway through my attempt, I discovered that you can lock into your opponent. This makes fights, and especially dodging, a lot easier. Learning this new tech, however, was not enough. Liabouts absolutely dumpstered me and I lost all my lives. Look, I'm not here to prove that I'm the world's greatest Last Legion UX player, so I'll just set my lives to infinite. This new tech, however, makes the first few levels extremely easy. It didn't take us long before we were ready for our run back against Liabouts. It still took a decent chunk of attempts to win, but eventually we got him. We of course interrogate the officer, and he doesn't seem to know much of what's going on. He does name drop as Sir Colcott, and it seems that Reddy knows him too. This Colcott guy used to be Reddy's superior, but now he's on light raid side. What a crazy turn of events, guys. We then ask where they went, and it seems that they are not too far from here. Mission 6 takes us inside of a volcano. And we are, of course, immediately greeted by another legion called NLFTPP. Reddy is strangely surprised that this is a woman. No, really, what kind of reaction is this, man? She then just straight up calls us a stalker. We start fighting and it's another pushover fight. She just does nothing. I kinda just mashed my way to victory here. The lava doesn't even seem to hurt me or her either. She can't fathom having lost to me and spills the beans right away. She then just casually tells us that power stones came from a meteorite. And as usual, she tells us where to go next. Before moving on though, I love how we're just leaving these legion carcasses with their pilots inside, hoping they don't just leave. Also, wouldn't her and the previous guy just cook themselves to death in their legions? We're leaving them inside of an active volcano after all. Mission 7 takes us to the top of a mountain, I think? And yes, a legion is here. And this legion is called Weinsteiger. I'm not really sure if I pronounced this well. Thankfully, this one doesn't really talk much and just wants to kill us. He's of course easy, but has this invisibility attack that makes it so I cannot lock into him. It's a bit annoying, but it eventually runs out. We use our trademarked rushdown strategy and we take him out. He then gives us the classic excuse after losing a fight of, "I just let you win this time." This dude is absolutely useless when it comes to info, but we deduce that Light Raid's mission has something to do with the creation of the world. So moving on. Mission 8 takes us to a castle, and we are of course interrupted by a legion. And it's a mirror match, and it's against Jankees, who speaks like a cowboy for some reason. Well, I mean, I guess it's because of the name. Can you guys please rate my cowboy impression, by the way? Yeehaw! You're a dang fool showing your face around here. Anyways, let's make this short. This was another pushover fight. I'm sure you've noticed that most fights now have just been complete stomps. The AI is unable to handle melee attacks for the most part, and it's very easy to just keep them in a vortex on their wake up, especially if they are cornered. Jankees also seems like the only nice character, and he gives us the exact location of Sir Kokot. On to mission 9, and we are now in a structure. I don't even know what the hell this place is. And Kokot has been waiting for us all along. His legion looks very intimidating as well. We get into a way too long of a discussion between these two after that. It seems like Kokot is not happy with the state of the world and he joined Light Raid in hopes of stopping the war. It doesn't seem like it in-game, but according to them, this war is extremely deadly with countless non-combatants dying. Reddy doesn't really give a crap though, so we must now fight. I was scared of this legion, which is called Grande Jupe, but you guessed it, another pushover. By the way, Grande Jupe means big skirt, in case you were wondering. You would expect the Colonel to be a bit stronger really. He has some laser bow attacks that hurt a bit, but they are very easy to dodge. Kokot tells us that the main motivation for him joining was the death of his grandson that made him realize that this war has been going on for too long now and that he must put a stop to it. He also reveals to us that the power stones come from the star god, meaning all these power stones come from a bigger power stone that was inside of a meteorite. Look, this story is just awful. By now I was just checked out. Even writing this script has me falling asleep at this story. Just look at my face here. So the plan all along was to go back in time and take the big power stone to have full control of the world. He then tells us where we can find the last officer and that we must put a stop to them before they reach the big power stone. Off we go. Mission 10, we're now in an underwater temple and the Legion is already waiting for us. We have an absolute nothing burger of a chat and fight. And I actually took a death here, it's been a while. But it was mainly because I was so impatient and managed to get myself cornered. Next try I cornered him and he was just unable to do anything about it. I don't want to call this a pushover because I died, but this was a pushover. So that's it, we've finally taken out all of the legions. I've finally destroyed all the legions that came to this era. That took a while. Buffoon, you really think that was the end? Fuck dude, this never ends. Well, I guess not. Seems the power stone was already taken and installed on a battleship. The plot twist here is that they use their own facility to move their battleship back in time. And honestly, I don't understand why this dude even tells me where this battleship is, but it makes our life easier at least. Time for the actual last mission, mission 11, and we're now underground? That's the name of the level at least. And it's time to fight the final boss too. which is this giant spinny machine thing. And let me tell you, this is the most cheap boss I've fought in a long time. All he does is he stays in the center of the arena spinning and shooting either balls or lasers. Then he goes under the arena and starts shooting missiles. He also has this huge laser attack that does a ton of damage. Oh yeah, and also you cannot lock into this boss at all. In short, this boss breaks every rule the game has established so far. However, we figured out the boss after just one try and we took him out. It was surprisingly easy. Kinda shit, dude, if you ask me. There's another phase? What the fuck, man? Ah, yes, of course, there's a phase 2. Phase 2 is this thing that flies around and has a shield. It has 3 attacks. First one is just a ram attack where it'll try to crash into you and it hurts a lot. Second attack is a huge fire attack that also hurts, and the third one is a spinny laser that you gotta dodge and it also hurts. I then proceeded to fight this thing for over an hour. It wasn't long until I noticed that my sword was just not gonna cut it. We need better damage. Did you guys get it? It's not gonna cut it? Damn, that was a good joke. Thankfully I was able to pick this big cannon and it made phase 1 go much faster. The strategy then became try to take as little damage as possible on phase 1 and then lock in for phase 2. The issue is that on phase 1 some of the damage just felt unavoidable, especially the white balls. I could never find a reliable way to dodge them since they just home into you. The entire phase just felt like RNG. If I made it to phase 2 with more than 50% health, that was usually a good try. The good thing about phase 2, however, is that the boss is just gonna cycle through the same 3 attacks over and over and always in the same order. So once you have it memorized, it's really not that difficult. Some of my attempts were really close, but I always ended up choking it. I was totally losing it at this boss. I don't think I've gotten this salty at any game so far in this challenge. After what felt like forever, I realized that you can actually block the white balls. It made it a million times easier to go into phase 2 with almost full health. It could have saved me so much trouble to know this earlier. I kept going and didn't give up despite the salt flowing through me. Whoa, f you! Oh my god! There it is! It's over. The cheapest boss yet has been defeated. The game hits us now with one final reveal. The legend was true all along because we are the ones who took part in it. We shattered the stone and spread the fragments all over, which then led to the Battle Soldier Legion development 4,500 years later. Credits roll. Game is alright, the story is flat out bad and the final boss is even worse. But the gameplay is actually super fun. I can see this being an absolute blast in multiplayer. I did a tiny bit of research and I read that there are 2 more legions based on Bomberman that can be unlocked by doing multiplayer, but I can't be bothered to get those honestly. I find the graphics to be alright, nothing groundbreaking, but I like the mech designs for the most part. As for the music, the OST is very upbeat and that little track that plays during dialogue has been stuck in my head ever since I finished the game. Now the question is, does this really feel like Virtualon? I don't think it does feel like it, but I can see where the comparisons are coming from. And I do feel maybe reviewers were a bit too harsh with this one. In no way this is a bad game outside of the final boss, and in my opinion this would be an absolute banger in mystery game tournaments. I now consider Last Legion UX completed. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe as it helps the channel a lot. I'm also always open to feedback and I'm always looking to improve from one video to the next. With that said, thank you so much for watching and I wish you all a great day. Now, what's coming next? So what are we getting next? 115, so it's literally just below it. Doraemon 3 Nobita no Machi SOS. So we're getting another Japanese exclusive here.